tournament, and that's the kind of idea, the belief that I want to install going forwards. We need more points. I hope we'll get them, but tomorrow is an opportunity for us to get answers. But I don't think it's going to be a definitive answer, whether it's a positive one or a negative one for the rest of the campaign.
Sébastien, bonjour, juste ici, Clément Brossard d'RMC Sport. Est-ce qu'on est plus dans l'obligation de faire des résultats en Ligue des Champions quand on est à la tête de l'AS Monaco
Are there
que
more
l'Union Saint-Gilloise?
obligations, expectancies to score points when you're head coach of Monaco rather than Union Saint-Gilloise? I think it depends how you see things. I think that Monaco is a great club. So, yes, they have European renown and a lot of history behind them. So, obviously, the expectations are different. But in the current context, and we've spoken about that a lot, I think balances things out in terms of the expectations. But I feel that the pressure and the expectation is the same, whether I'm here or in Belgium. My expectations are to do my best on the pitch. In Belgium at Union Saint-Gilloise, we were defending our status as champions in our first Champions League. So obviously there was possibly more leniency in terms of results, but it certainly doesn't change the way that I approach games, that's for certain.
Bonjour Sébastien, Antoine Momot de Longueuil du journal L'équipe. J'aurais deux questions, une sur le groupe. Est-ce que tu peux nous dire qui sont les absents, s'il y a des retours, et une deuxième question.
Could you tell us who are the players who are missing? And a second question on Thilo Kehrer, who struggled a little bit at the start of the season. He wasn't a starter. Now he's a player who should be starting. What have you said to him? What objectives have you asked him to achieve individually, and what can he bring to the team? Well, in terms of the squad at the moment, Christian's resumed training. Paul is training, but not fully. That's good news, part of the good news. We don't have any other injuries, thankfully. But we know what the squad list is for Europe. So apart from that, nothing changes. In terms of your question on Thilo Kehrer, truthfully, I haven't focused on the start of his season too much because I've come into this adventure with a blank page, and that's exactly what I've applied to the players. I'm basing myself on what I'm seeing in the training sessions, and possibly what I'm asking of the players is different to what my predecessor asked. I think Thilo did a good performance, had a good performance in the first game, but whether it was him or others, I think it was the same in terms of what we asked, in terms of his involvement, his application, and his ability to be a leader and be a role model for young players like Maghnes. And I think he did what he did, and it was rather positive.
Je continue. Bonjour coach. Christophe Roux pour Nice Matin. Je continue sur le sujet qui concerne Thilo.
I'd like to continue on Thilo. He's well traveled, he has experience. He could be a really important player for the club. And for you, who's just arrived at the club, do you feel that he can have that leadership attributes? Do you expect him to have them? Yes, I think he can bring a lot to the team, to myself, but I think that I can bring a lot to him as well. As I said, there are three different leaders. There's a vocal leader, a technical leader, and there's the group leader, the changing room leader. And I think if you have one already, that's already an attribute that shows that you can be part of the captain's group. I think that a young lad like Maghnes in the future will be able to be a technical leader and a vocal leader as well. I hope so for him. So Thilo has a lot of attributes. But being a leader also means that you need to share out responsibilities. And he's one of the few in the squad at the moment to be on the pitch. So there are expectations, but he's been a good mouthpiece for the coach for the match in Angers as well. And I'm impatient to see the other leaders come back. But it also leaves the opportunity to other members in the group to take their place, to grow, to prepare for the future, because we have young players, youngsters.
leader dans quel domaine, coach? Vous avez dit, voilà, c'est ou technique, ou social, ou vocal. Vous le situez où sur ces 3 points qui vous sont chers?
Moi, je pense qu'il peut, au niveau vocal, le faire, mais le vocal dépend souvent de la confiance. On voit souvent le joueur qui coach beaucoup quand il est bien dans son match. Et quand on est un petit peu moins bien, on se cache. Les vrais leaders, que ce soit dans des bons ou des moins bons moments, est toujours là pour guider ses coéquipiers. Thilo l'a fait pendant tout le match. Donc voilà, au niveau leader technique, quand je dis technique, c'est pas seulement un joueur qui peut dribbler dans un petit espace et faire une passe D, c'est aussi un leader technique par rapport à sa position. Donc un leader technique défensif, c'est aussi ça. Le but qu'on marque à Angers part d'un bon pressing qui est orchestré par Maghnes, qui est suivi par Crépin, mais qui est surtout bien ajusté par Thilo dans son marquage individuel vers l'avant et récupération de balle. Donc ça, pour moi, c'est aussi une sorte de leadership technique par rapport aux aptitudes sur le terrain.
Aptitudes and attributes that are technical leaderships that are needed on the pitch as well.
Hi, Sebastian. One in English, if you don't mind.
Yes.
In England, there would have been a lot of excitement if Paul Pogba was fit to play this match. He's obviously not. But how excited are you to work with him when he is back fit, and how important can he be this season for you?
Yes, I think that the process for Paul is a process to make everything step by step. Yesterday, he joined the group for the first time under my coaching, and he was smiling, he was enjoying, and he was interacting with the players. So for me, that's the first step. This step can take days, can take 2-3 weeks, and then we can build on this through the performance and the consistency. So yeah, that's the first step, and here we are with him. So that's the situation, and I'm very pleased for sure to see him on the pitch.
Hello, Sebastian. Another one in English. I think Eric Dyer's injured tomorrow for the game. Is that right? And if so, how disappointed is he to miss out playing his former club?
Actually, it was more general disappointment to be injured, because I felt that he really wanted to start the journey with me on the weekend, and he was really upset with the injury. So for sure, in parallel, that he missed a game against Tottenham, it can be deeply disappointment for him, but we didn't discuss about this actually.
Sébastien, ici à nouveau. Comment vous pouvez évaluer cette première semaine là à Monaco?
How can you evaluate this first week at Monaco? Did you discover things, whether it's the players or the environment? Could you give us perhaps a little bit of a summary on this first week? This first week was very interesting because I had to get to know everybody. There were a lot of meetings, a lot of preparation in terms of the training sessions, because I need to get my principles across as quickly as possible. So I'm very satisfied with what I've seen this first week, because I've created a connection with the group, with the squad, who were very receptive to me here. The game against Angers, possibly from an outsider's point of view, you didn't see a lot of changes, but I was very satisfied with what I did see. So that's very positive. That's me towards the club, but the club towards me has been very open. There's been a lot of unity. They've helped me to put things in place quickly. So the feelings I have are good feelings. I'm very happy with these first weeks.
Hi, Sebastian. During your playing time in Belgium at the start of your career, I read online that Tottenham were once supposedly interested in signing you. Do you have any recollections of whether that's true? And also, do you have any memories of playing against Tottenham during your time in England?
Yeah, it was a long time ago. So it was, I think, the same time that Monaco was interested, but I was 16, 17 years old. So it's a really, really long time ago. For my player time, I played once in the old stadium of Tottenham. I think the coach was Pochettino. I don't know if Eric played that game. I'm not sure. I played against my former friend, teammates Shadley on that game. Was Moussa Dembele also, I think. Yeah, was in the old-fashioned stadium. Was a nice atmosphere. I guess we won 1-0. So yeah, my only reminder of this time.
We've seen that against Angers, you want to quickly put in place your principles and your system. Obviously, results dictate everything, but what's important for you at the moment, and perhaps also a question for Maghnes, how have you experienced this transition in this first week under the new coach? First and foremost, we need to talk about the basics, and we need to work on our physicality, because if we want to play the kind of style that I like to play, we need to put in place those foundations. Physical strength leads to mental strength. I passionately believe that, and I think that that will give us confidence, because the style I like to play is also based on bravery on the ball, but also being strong in the duels. To do that, you need to also try and streamline mentality, because we can't reach that point if we're not conscious that we need to work hard every day. Those are my principles, my basics, but then we need to establish a right style of play where individualities can contribute to the team, and that the system can't be dependent only on individualities. But that is a long-term project and vision. Hello, everyone. To answer your question, this week has gone well. We all came back from the international break. But looking at things overall and talking with my teammates, we felt the coach's impact, someone who's very positive. And I think that that's really going to help us and allow us to really concentrate on his new style of playing, and I think we'll adapt quickly. A question on Ansu Fati. We saw him come off the pitch. He wasn't very happy to be substituted. I just wanted to know what you thought about his reaction and whether you spoke about it with him. I told him after the game. He reacted in the right way. So when a player is disappointed about coming off, I think that's normal. And when a player is substituted, there's always a reason for it, whether it's tactical, whether it's a medical fear for injury. But other than the reaction, I think it also tells me a lot about the players, and I think Ansu has a little bit to focus on his emotional control. But I'm not a coach who's closed or who has definitive reactions towards players. And as soon as a player is able to have the right attitude in training the next day, then that's fine with me. And that's what happened. So we don't need to make a meal of it. Yes, it wasn't a great reaction, but it goes no further. Maghnes, a question on Thilo. We spoke about it at the start of the season. He was playing a little less. Do you think he was as influential with the youngsters, whether it was to guide you, to put an arm around you? Obviously, you're very young, but there are a lot younger players in the squad coming through the ranks from the academy. But do you feel that he maintained that leadership quality he had with you guys? Yes, absolutely. This is someone that I know and I've known for a long time. He's really helpful every day. He pushes us to really strive for the best, whether it's me or the youngsters. there are moments that aren't easy, and he's one of those players in the leadership group that really push you hard, whether it's in training or during games. So I think that's really important for us. It's a similar question to that I asked for the match. It's 5 games without a win in the Champions League if we factor in last season as well. So do you really want to get victory, and you need points to really get this campaign going? Yes, of course. Tomorrow is also a game at home, and we like playing in front of our fans. It's an important game. We know that we have the quality, the ability to do something here, but we need to allow ourselves to do that. We need to put luck on our side, and why not try and get a result tomorrow?
Magnus, there were good.
Yeah.
There were lots of stories in England in the summer about Tottenham being interested in bringing you to the club. What was your reaction to those stories, and would you like to play in the Premier League one day?
Oui, c'est toujours flatteur d'avoir.
Yes, it's always very flattering to have these kind of stories and links. But I'm a Monaco player, and I'm playing against Tottenham tomorrow. So I'll give my best. In terms of whether I want to play in the Premier League or not, why not? We'll see. We'll see in the future. But what's most important for me right now is tomorrow's game.
Maghnes, est-ce que c'est une question pour vous deux? Est-ce que Thilo parfois est
It's a question for both of you, but is Thilo sometimes a leader or a player that's undervalued? He's been criticized ever since he's been here in Monaco. Obviously, you have ups and downs, but do you feel that he's perhaps undervalued, underappreciated as a player and leader? Undervalued, maybe. I think he's a player who puts in good performances and also brings a lot to Monaco because of his experience, and thanks to his experience, it allows him to be a good performer at European level as well. And perhaps it's something that we don't see, but in daily life, he's also someone who's excellent outside of football, and I think on the pitch, he's still developing and improving. I don't undervalue any of my players. So that's my point of view from a coach. But from the outside, I don't have enough of an overlook in terms of opinions to answer. But I think players who are undervalued and underappreciated are often players who are perhaps not loud off the pitch, but that's also a good thing. And that factors into what I'm asking him in terms of being a leader. And we need to preserve that aspect of being very demanding, and perhaps he's a player who gives off that image of being very calm, doesn't make waves, but I don't have any more of an opinion than that.
Bonjour Maghnes, juste au-dessus. Une question aussi, alors c'est jamais évident quand tu es à côté de ton coach, mais
it's never easy when you're next to your coach, but what do you think are the differences you've seen between Adi and Sébastien at the moment in terms of how he's behaved with you and in terms of the training sessions? I think I'll be able to answer this question a little bit later on, to be honest. But as I said, what I've seen from the coach is that he has principles and a style of play that are very clear. He has set values as well. We know that we're going to have to be brave, whether it's with the ball or without the ball. But as I said, what really impressed me was that positivity and what that can bring to us as a team. In terms of Adi, he did really well overall. I think we need to keep a good image of what he did. But as the coach said, it's a new page for us and for him as well, and I hope that we'll do well. On a little bit more of a personal aspect, you had your first call-ups for the French national team. A coach has changed here. How have you experienced all of this personally? Do you feel that now you have a new status, you're getting a new status, and you therefore need to give more?
Oui, ça fait partie aussi de la vie d'un jeune et d'un footballeur.
Yes, I think that's
C'est
also
de
part of
constamment
the journey of a
s'adapter.
young player.
Et
I
voilà,
think in
moi,
football you need to
je
be
me sens bien
constantly
aussi.
adapting.
Je suis prêt à répondre
I feel
à
good.
l'instant présent et essayer
I'm ready
de performer au
to
maximum
answer the call
sur le
and
terrain et je me
to
concentre sur ça.
perform as best
C'est
I
ça
can
le
on the
plus important
pitch,
pour
and
moi.
that's what I'm focused on. That's what's most important to me.
Bonjour, coach Stéphane Roux pour Monaco Tribune. Vous n'êtes là que depuis quelques jours, mais
Coach, you've only been here for a couple of days, but since the start of the season, Monaco have conceded at least once every match. Have you been able to understand why this is and perhaps give you an answer as to how to solve this problem? I think it's a very good question. There are multiple factors. The first, in my opinion, is that our defensive sector, considering what I've seen, is also a result of a lot of injuries and players missing. That's the first point. The second aspect is that to keep a clean sheet, you need to work as a team. And that's not applicable only to the defensive line, but it's for everyone there, whether it's be the length of the pitch, the width of the pitch. We need to work as a team. And to do that, we need the physical attributes to do that, whether it's conditioning, whether it's physicality, because when it's tough, you need to be aware, sharp enough to do that. And then thirdly, there's that individual quality. We need to begin the game, start the game with that willingness to get a clean sheet. Sometimes we need to think with our head and not just let our body do the talking. These are all things that I'm going to try and bring to the team. So to do that, we need to train. I have many different ways of trying to approach this, but at the moment we're playing every 3 days, so it's difficult to really pinpoint these aspects in training. But all I can do is put our structure in place and compensate it in terms of the games and use the games as big training sessions, shall we call them, and then we analyze and work individually with the players. That's what we need to do. But we were 5 minutes away from a first clean sheet since April, not without conceding chances, we have to be honest, but we weren't far from that clean sheet. So hopefully we're able to get that first clean sheet that we've been waiting for weeks and months.
Question pour Maghnes. On a senti que vous étiez un peu plus à l'aise quand vous avez joué pour
Maghnes,
France. Est-ce que c'était votre
we
ressenti
felt that you were
personnellement
perhaps a little bit freer, a little bit more relaxed when you were playing for France. Is that true? Do you agree with that?
Deuxième rassemblement, je me suis senti aussi
Yes, I feel that in this last international break, I felt very well.
partenaire, mais
I think it's important also when you know the teammates a little bit better, when you know the coach, the staff, it's always a lot simpler, a lot easier. And so for this second call-up, I felt a lot better, whether it was during training or during the games. So I think we felt that on the pitch as well, and it's a positive for me.
palier, je sais pas, mais non, j'essaie de donner toujours le maximum.
Whether this is a step or not, I'm not sure. I always try and give my best for the national team. That's one of my objectives. I felt very, very good in this second call-up, so I felt better.
Hi, Magnus, in English. Can I ask you about two of your former, now France, under-21 teammates, Matthias Tell and Wilson Odegaard, both at Tottenham. How talented are those two players, and have you spoke to them ahead of this meeting tomorrow, with Wilson, of course?
Non, j'ai pas parlé avec eux. Maintenant, oui, c'est deux jeunes qui
No, I didn't
ont
speak with
beaucoup de
them.
talent et de qualité
They're two
technique.
youngsters who are very talented, they're very quick,
Qui sont dynamiques, qui
they're
peuvent apporter beaucoup de danger.
really dangerous, they're wingers who
Tottenham, j'ai eu l'occasion de jouer
are
avec eux
able
aussi
to
en
cause a lot of problems for Tottenham.
Et, non,
I had the
ce
chance
sont de
to
bons
play with
joueurs
them
et
in the under-23s as well.
plaisir de les
They're very
voir
good
démarrer.
players, and it'll be really nice to see them tomorrow.
Magnus in English as well, please. Because Tottenham are linked with you tomorrow, is there more pressure for you to sort of deliver and show why you're attracting interest? And also, what are your qualities? What do you think in terms of the Premier League? What do you like about the Premier League? Thank you.
J'avais un petit peu répondu à cette question. Non, moi je me concentre sur.
No, I think I answered this question a little bit earlier. I'm focused on my performance and on the performance of the team. The important thing for us is to win the game. I'm not focused at all on other links and pressure. Last questions, please.
Pour toi, Marnès, le coach l'a dit la semaine dernière en conférence de presse. Il attend quand il y a des cadres qui sont.
The coach said about you last week that he expects players like you or Ansu to take the lead, to try and drag the team forwards. I'm talking about moments where are perhaps difficult, where maybe you can help the team by being a little bit more decisive or maybe being a bit more of a leader, a bit more vocal. Is that where you need to improve to really become more of a leader, become more of a personality on the pitch, turning draws into games, being more talkative, being more present in decisive moments? Yes, I think that's an area where I can improve. I think I can be a lot more vocal, and I'm aware of that. That's something that I'm trying to work on. I know it's important for a top-level player to be able to help out on the pitch, but also when you're vocal, you can also help out teams. And it's on these kind of things that I try and play and that I try and progress and improve.
Sébastien, tu as parlé de l'importance de bien se sentir
Coach, you
physiquement,
spoke
physiquement pour développer le
about the importance of being physically in the right frame of mind. Considering the games that are coming and the very busy fixture list and coming here to the club, how are you able to change things in the short term or medium term? And how did you find the squad physically? Is it perhaps not at the level you would expect it to be? I think that the only way to win time, gain time, is to raise the intensity of the way we work. Whether it's also our mental focus during meetings, our approach to training, that the players need to be focused from the off. In terms of the physical intensity, we're not going to be doing another pre-season. It's impossible. That's why I'm trying to look at things as the games we're playing contribute to the process. They're like training sessions in some ways. Like I said, after Angers, the day after games, for the training sessions for players who are on the fringes, who are reserves, they're games for me. The intensities are high. Why? Because, yes, we need to try and plug the gap, but also because I'm relying on everybody to contribute and to integrate the system, and therefore not to be too dependent on individual players over the course of the season. And that's possibly due to a lack of freshness or a lack of availability. We need to be ready. And my job on a daily point of view is that that intensity needs to be there on the pitch, but also off the pitch. And that's the investment of the staff and the team. That's all I can do. On this specific point of view, that's the maximum I can do to accelerate the process.